I'm Max Nichols. VDC Director.
I should stop.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Ugly Truth About Construction. Today's episode is called The Design Intent Delusion because apparently we're all still pretending that vague ideas magically turn into buildable plans. You know the drill. Architect draws a pretty picture, engineer shrug, contractor screams internally, and somewhere in the middle, somebody writes down per design intent, it's a get out of coordination free card. So buckle up. We're going to be talking about missing details, blind faith, and the industry's favorite pastime, guessing what the hell the design team meant. So a little housekeeping items here. Last week, we had some audio issues. This is a freaking live podcast. We're going to have problems. We're going to just push through them, try to mitigate as much as possible. But let's dive into this fun topic, the design intent. I got my buddy on today, Max Nichols, Senior VDC Director at Okland Construction. How you doing, bud?
Good, brother. How you been, man?
Man, living the dream over here. So design intent, before we jump into that, tell us a little bit about you, your role, what you guys do over at Okland.
Yeah, 100%, man. Work for Okland Construction, large size general contractor regionally, Southwest region. 3 primary offices, Arizona, Salt Lake City, and then Boise. About $3 billion a year, a little under. Do a little bit of self-perform, primarily around the concrete side, and some process piping for our advanced manufacturing clients. Kind of all over the map with work. I'd say our 2 heaviest focuses building type wise are healthcare and advanced manufacturing, but we tend to do a lot of other things. We're about a 95% repeat client, so we tend to do a lot of things with really good clients, a lot of corporate office stuff, a lot of lab stuff, a lot of stuff on the faith or religious side across our different offices. A lot of good work. Great company, really focused on what we call delivering remarkable experiences, right? Not only remarkable experiences for our bottom line, hopefully, but obviously our clients, and really we categorize as all our project partners, whether they be the architects, the engineers, the client, the subcontractors, or even our internal teams, right? So kind of that's our focus. We tend to take on challenging projects and love that type of challenge. Been here about 4 years, running the VDC team. We were a much smaller group back in the day, but we're about 40 now between the 3 offices. Various level of people, various level of skill sets, from architects to engineers to ex-detailers to all across the map, basically. But yeah, been here for 4 years. Love it. Great group, great projects. Get to hang out with cool people like Weese and James and the whole crew. So yeah, that's me.
Love it. So for the people out there who don't know, we got to go ahead and get this out of the way because he already did it.
Because I'll do it again, too.
Yeah, because he'll do it again. So Max calls me Weese because my last name. So if you hear him say Weese, he's talking about me. It started a whole thing at AU to where I couldn't even go to the bathroom without someone saying, "Hey, Weese." So thank you. I appreciate that, bub.
You got to earn the right, though, people. You got to earn the right.
Yeah, right. So, you're talking about all these projects that you're doing and, big stuff over there at Okland. Design intent. Where do we start, bub?
I loved your intro. Straight up. There's a lot of reality to that. And I guess before I start down a rabbit hole, let's be real, the industry is a little broken. Right. And it's no individual group's fault. It's not the architect's fault. It's not the engineer's fault. It's not the owner's fault. It's not the general contractor's fault. It's definitely not the trade partner's fault. Right. But I think what the problem it really truly is it's been a race to a bottom on the design side for years, whether it be fees, whether it be staff leaving and moving towards construction or subcontractor roles, that kind of talent drain from the design industry. And honestly, a little bit of competing priorities, right? You kind of mentioned it in your intro. There's this pretty design, but like what's up, right? Like, how are we supposed to truly, like, cool, that looks great. Your ceiling's the coolest panel I've ever seen, and those registers look beautiful, and your facade's all wavy. That's great, but like, what are we going to do? How are we going to make that happen, right?
Well, it's so weird, man. You know, because you'll see my favorite. We were working on a project the other day, and it was like, see detail 7, and we're like, okay, so we're going. I'm talking. Go through every daggum plan, and there's no detail 7. And so we reach out and we're like, hey, where's detail 7? They're like, oh, just per design intent. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, this makes no sense whatsoever. That
or
term
the
has
other
got
dirty word, means and methods, right?
Yeah,
you know,
means
the
and
other way to
methods.
say design intent, means and methods.
Means and methods.
Right?
Yep. Man, it's so frustrating. And I think it's gotten to a point where it's just like a word people throw around. You know, it's not what it was intended to be used for. Of hey, you know, you get it. You know, like, obviously you understand what is supposed to happen here, so just go with that. Now it's just vague. You know, it's like having a conversation with my wife, and she wants me to read her mind, and I have no idea what the hell she's trying to. You know, I'm like, what's going on?
You're in
here?
trouble, but hon, tell me why I'm in trouble, right?
Yeah,
so we can
I don't
solve
understand.
this together, right?
Right.
And it's the same thing in one, what we deal with, and two, honestly, what we should be doing. I think one thing I learned early on in my life, I had a design background, went into construction, grew up in construction, then went into architecture, then went into design build, then went into construction, and so on and so on, right? One thing I kind of learned is, like, bro, no one person's going to get this right? We're a big army of people that actually execute a building. It's no joke, man. It's one of, honestly, like, when I think of it, it's kind of one of the coolest, like, feats of what man really does, right? Like, we build these monstrosities, these amazing buildings to the tunes of millions or billions of dollars, right? And each one's a new team. It's a new set of challenges. It's a new set of materials. It's a new set of assemblies, interactions, people, contracts. Like, it's pretty freaking cool when you take a step back from that, right? But like, kind of coming back to where the means and methods, the design intent, et cetera, kind of where I was going before I went down a rabbit hole. But, like, it's when you accept that it's going to happen, right? And one thing I've been really excited about at Okland, and one of the reasons why I moved from Chicago down to Arizona to work with Okland, is they accept that out the gate, right? And they want to create that project partnership. So if we catch something in pre-con, then let's fix it then. If we don't catch it in that, then let's fix it later. But let's work together to do it, right? And not finger point, and not, like, just be defensive back and forth against each other. Like, prime example, right? And this is a little dirty laundry, but not that bad. We tend to do a lot of integrated project delivery or design assist methods around here, especially around our healthcare work, right? So we have a lot of projects where we'll be working hand in hand, especially with my VDC team, with the design team from, call it SD. We'll start working together, and we're pull planning, and we're figuring out concepts, and we're pulling trades in early. We're doing early VDC and stuff like that. We had a recent one, and a little embarrassing, but it got fixed, right? Is a simple detail about how the facade interacted with the slab edge of an existing condition at a hospital versus how the new condition of the wall would react. They kind of had to stack, right? And we were using a prefab panel, so we're trying to figure it out. We're burning trades in early. The design team kind of just threw a can detail in there, right? No foul, no harm. Design team's rushing. They grab the one from the last project, they throw it in. Problem, it's a seismic detail, right? Because it was from their last hospital. I think it was in Cali or something, right? We didn't notice, right? Like we missed it, bro. But then we're working with these. We're working with our kind of core trades up front, and we got to the point where we were, envelope was ready to go, steel was right, but this one detail had a certain request around a flexible fire fill, a fire rated fill, right? And so we start to pull in these kind of, we call them second tier trades. Not that they're not as important, but they're kind of that second phase, right? They're not your primaries you're working with. And we pull them in. We're getting numbers from them. We get this crazy number. We're like, what the heck, you know? And then so they call my guy Dean, who's running the project from the VDC side, and they're like, hey, you know, like, we don't think you need this. We don't see any seismic ratings and any of the structural drawings or anything that would qualify this. Like, what's going on? And it was like, oops, right? But I think that's kind of what ties back to what I was talking about before, right? Is this kind of race to the bottom that we've created in this industry, design side, construction side, even trade partner side as well, that just creates this rush and this momentum and this kind of inevitable trap that something's going to get missed, right? Yeah. Even when we have the right mechanisms to do that. Fortunately, we are collaborative, right? You know, and it was simple as Dino picking up the phone, calling the project architect on the other side and being like, do we really need this? And him going, oh, my bad, you know, quick email back and forth, talk to them. The drawing eventually got switched out, you know, next set or whatever. Fine. We solved it together. But that's what we need to be doing across the board, regardless of the contract, I guess is my overall rabbit hole point, basically.
Last week we were talking with Jacob from Future Built, a DeAngelis downline company, and we were talking about like multifamily coordination, and we're talking about releasing early, so that way we can start coordination early. And I think what you said about race to the bottom is the exact thing. Like, by the time construction wants to get started as fast as possible, we want to get it. We want to get out there. We want to get ahead of things because we know there's going to be stuff that comes up. But we're pushing design. We're pushing design to be faster, and then that then pushes them more to be just like, hey, just go with design intent, you know. And I'm like, okay. So I get the part that there's no fault. Where do you think, in your mind, where the whole design intent delusion starts? Is it at the design level? Is it because as construction we are rushing design to get out the door, or is it like a scattered all between?
All of the above and probably 10 other things. I mean, let's be real. There's never one answer to a problem this complex, right? You know, I think you alluded it to. We have to take responsibility as contractors or the construction industry that we rush this, right? Owners need to take responsibility for some of the delays or inefficiencies they may create in there. The design teams need to take responsibility that their execution wasn't as good as it should be, we'll say, right? But I think overall, one of the things we kind of forget about, where I've seen it a lot, having come from that side way long ago when I didn't have gray all over here and stuff like that, is, and I kind of alluded to it before, there's a knowledge and quality drain from the design industry, right? A lot of people, let's say it post 2008, I went through it. I'll say I was an architect till 2008, didn't have a job in architecture after that, and been on the dark side since, right? And there's tons of people like that around this US in construction, in trades, if they came from the engineering side, who knows, right? But what I think's happened is the skill and the knowledge gap. It left architecture, it left engineering, and it somehow was thought of, no fault of anyone, but technology is just going to fill it. Like, technology is a tool, right? Like, we always talk about with like BIM, right? Like BIM's Revit's not BIM. BIM's a process, right? It's people, collaboration. It's software. It's a workflow, right? How are you connecting those 3-4 different parts together? And what I've really seen recently is even really great big design companies, right? These monster architects or these AEs or even the EPCs of the world, is there's so much responsibility in young people's hands now that haven't gone through these issues, They don't have enough senior guidance. A lot of that, talent has left the industry. Or those principal or higher level talents, there's only so much you can do in a day when you're trying to cover a million things, that I think it's become a defense mechanism. And, a kid coming out of school that's 3 years out of his architecture career and is made a PA probably a little bit earlier than they should be, right? They've heard means and methods. They've heard design intent. So it just gets dropped, right? Yep. And because of contracts, because of history, because of liability, we're all a little cautious, right? But I think it all comes back to like let's just be a partnership. Let's admit our faults. Let's admit what we've done right or wrong. Let's learn from each other what we've done right or wrong, and drop the defensive card and just figure out the problems together.
When you were talking just a minute ago,
it's a little kumbaya, but there's a lot of truth, bro.
When you were talking, you were like, Revit's not BIM. I was just thinking about people watching this and seeing that one person's mind explode. Like, what? Revit's not
like,
dude, I hear that all the time. Yeah. I hear it all the time. Like, oh no, we do BIM. Like, we work in Revit. It's a process. It's not a Revit execution plan. It's a BIM execution plan. It's what's mandatory. It's people, processes, and what you're talking about with like AI and technology. It's a tool. It's not meant to come in and take over and do everything. It's meant to enhance your processes, enhance your company.
When you're building a building, you use multiple tools.
Yep.
When you're orchestrating the 3D coordination of a project, you use multiple tools. If you're orchestrating the execution of a design, you use multiple tools. Like, let's be real.
When you say 3D coordination, you mean clash detection, right? It's the same thing.
Don't do it. Don't do it, bro. You know how that one gets me. And yes, I'll take the bait on that one. But yes, I call it 3D coordination. I think it's a disservice, and I think it also really confuses people outside of VDC and BIM that clash detection is the priority, and it's not, right? There's good clashes. There's bad clashes. Like, there's ways to use clash detection to solve problems that damn well better be a clash, or we got some other problems going on there. So I have always leaned towards, and I'm probably a little extra preachy about it, especially if I got a bourbon or two in me, but little extra preachy about it's 3D coordination, right? Because we're not just clash detection, we're solving issues, we're communicating, we're looking to find problems that go beyond this hits that.
Yeah, I mean, when like I'm explaining it to somebody who doesn't understand, I'll use the methodology of, hey, this is going to this, that's a clash. But it's so much, it is so much more than that. Coordination is not just looking at a screen and saying, oh, hey, this hits, let's move it, and then boom, the building's ready to be built. There's so many other factors, because once you move one thing, you have to go down the line. Does that clash? If I move that, does that change the design intent of the system? Like it all ties back. It is really exactly what it is. It's coordination. You're coordinating with not just the model, with the people, with the process.
And there's layers of coordination, right? Like there's a certain expectation in the industry, and rightfully so, that a design team will coordinate to a particular level, right? One of, I think, the things I'm the most disappointed in about where BIM's gone, BIM, clash detection, don't call it clash detection, 3D coordination, where it hasn't gone over the past, let's call it 10, 15 years, is like MEP. Really? You can't run a couple things early on just to figure out. I get it. You're not going to solve every issue. You don't have your fire protection in yet. That's delegated, right? You don't have all of your electrical infrastructure in. Do you have all your clearances set? Probably not. Do you have your hangars? No, you don't, right? So there needs to be that, tie it back to the, the means and method side, that extra layer in there that has to happen. But you just can't do a quick one. Figure out the problems, get ahead, do some duct reshaping, have a plan for the trade that you can, slip over or be ready for the million RFIs you're about to get because all your stuff doesn't fit in your ceiling. Like, I think that's one of the most disappointing things to me about the
Yeah.
industry is that it really has become the GC and the trade partners, right?
Yep.
You know, it's just and no knock to the MEP engineers of the world, but like, I mean, you got it. You use Revit. You got Navisworks for free with it. You know, you got BIM people in most major MEP companies. Take 4 hours to run something and take an hour to run through it together.
Yeah,
You know, I'm
dude,
not asking you to
thing,
move it all, but just check.
my what makes me want to pull what little hair I do have out is when we get brought in on a project and you'll have like the MEP or you have like the M&P together, you know, and then the major clashes when we get in to start running coordination, we'll get in and the majority thing is the mechanical and the plumbing clashing against each other. I'm like, bro, your freaking team designed this whole thing. What the hell? Like, do you not overlay? Do you not go back but doing a quick coordination check would be
and
save time.
I worked in MEP, right? I was a BIM director in MEP for years before I got into construction after I was kind of in the Autodesk world. And honestly, that was something we did, but we're talking, this is like 2013, bro. Like we're what, 13 years later almost at this particular point?
Well, that was back when like
happened?
mechanical, that's about the time where like mechanical was prime on coordination, you know, like,
oh yeah,
you know, so
yeah, which I never understood that personally.
I still when I see that coming through, I'm like, it makes zero sense to me that you're going to have your mechanical trade be prime on a project. Like, that's my don't talk to me of that with when I have bourbon.
Yeah, no, I will never understand why a GC would do that, you know? And there's some big GCs out there. Like, I'm not going to name any names, but they still do that. And we're talking like top 10, top 20 ENR GCs that do that as a workflow. And it's kind of like, y'all ain't figured this one out yet. What's going on, you know? And honestly, truth is, you know, the industry, you know, and I'm lucky here at my position, right? I got support from the highest layers, you know, and I'm lucky in that. But there's a lot of GCs out there that just still don't even understand that it's not clash detection, it's 3D coordination, you know?
And I think that's why, like, I really wanted us to, you know, start this pod and do this. So to start getting people in to talk about this, because a lot of it is construction has never been the innovators, right?
No.
Construction's, we've never
always
been
50 years behind.
Yeah.
On a good day. Compared to manufacturing or something.
Yeah. We've never been the innovators. We've never been the ones who are setting the stage. Well, now with all this new stuff coming out to where, you know, we kind of had enough, we're starting to push the envelope a little bit to where like we're requiring a lot more stuff. Like, hey, you're going to work on this project, you're going to use ACC. Oh, you don't have ACC, you're not on this project. Hey, okay.
Hey, design team, you need to work on a hub together with me, you know,
right?
Like,
you know, like, yeah, and seeing that, I think it's a knowledge gap. And that's where, like, you know, to the listeners out there, you know, as I said from the beginning, I'm an Autodesk guy. It's what I know. It's what I love. When it comes to this design intent stuff, the Autodesk Construction Cloud isn't like a magical fix-all that's going to fix it. But in my opinion, and Max, you know, you work in this just as much as I do, it makes it to where you can't hide behind it. You can track issues. You can assign it to people. You can say, hey, you know, this is the problem. It needs to be fixed. And it's not, oh, I never got the email, never saw the RFI. I didn't know what you're talking about. You can't, not only from design to coordination, but then also from like office to field. We can make those changes as well, where the field guy can go in there on the tablet, just like, hey, what is this? Figure it out back and forth. So when it comes to like the design intent delusion, working inside of ACC, you can not fully eliminate the problem, but make it a lot. You can't ignore it, basically.
Well, and I mean, really good point. And I'll walk back to what I talked about with, BIM or VDC in general, right? It's not a software. It's people, it's processes, it's technology/software, and it's how you put the pieces together and work through it, and have common goals and execute together.
Wait, you mean that? You mean that just because I created an RFI inside of ACC, that doesn't automatically fix it throughout the model and it gets resolved, and I don't have to do anything?
You still need people, right? But the magic of ACC, like big proponent, we switched over the whole damn company, even our accounting team about a year and a half ago, right? Like the magic of ACC is the democracy of the data, right? It's in one place. You can use that data then, you can then use that data to try to get better, like we talked about, whether it be better with design or better with trades or whatever you're looking to do as that GC. The other magic of it is, I think, that we found is single source of truth, right? But it's, we talk about it's not going to fix the design issues, but one thing that really does make it a lot easier to fix design issues: work together. Choose to be on the same platform. Hey, design team, you're working on ACC with your Revit models, producing your documents that are static snapshots that aren't showing everyone together, right? Oh, well, we're going to do the same thing. I got an idea. Let's get in the same spot and do it together, right? Like, it sounds, I'm being facetious and stuff, but like, there's a lot of truth to that. One of the, I think, the coolest things that's happened to me, at least this week, right? I'm sure come up with something better, hopefully next week, but we've spent a lot of time creating relationships with architects we work with often, right? And we now have one. We're starting up a design build. We've gone through this probably half a dozen times with them, and they just hit us up. They're like, "Hey, we need to get going on the Revit model. Can we get on your hub? Like, can we send you a list of users? He's going to be my BIM point of contact. He's going to get the extra layer of security." And I was like, "Oh, bro, wait. That just happened," right? Like we've worked together to develop that relationship that saw those results. And now what used to be a frustration and something we'd have to start talking about 2 months early and, go to their lawyers and go to their IT team, like it now just like happened. And I felt really bad because we weren't ready. We hadn't started the ACC project yet. So I called up my process improvement team. I was like, "Go, bro. Like, this is embarrassing." Like a design team's begging to get on the same hub with us. I was a little embarrassed about it, but I was also proud because those little things, whether it be the same hub of ACC working together, or like we talked about, that like common want to create a better experience and outcome on the project, the lack of finger pointing, the lack of just screaming means and methods, but that attitude of working together, that's what fixes this industry. Not a magic tool. It's the people and the collaboration that fixes it. We can have a bunch of kick-ass, I knew I'd get one in there, kick-ass tools in there, right, to help us do some cool stuff. Man, we can have robots run around sites now and stuff. Like, it's wild, right? Didn't expect that 10 years ago, right? But it's really going to come down to the people and the collaboration to get past all of that nonsense in the industry.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, I see a lot of people, using like ChatGPT or AI agents or whatever platform they're doing, and like they'll produce things that, it's cool, sure, that's neat, but like the images where you're like, they'll create an image and the person will have like 6 fingers instead of 5. It's not, it's like, it's not perfect. If you have,
it's better than 4, bro.
Hey, what? But it's like, you're not. I don't foresee there ever being a true time where, you're gonna open your computer and be like, build this, and you just step away and it's just going to run, and then it's going to get there. The robots will like deploy out and start, digging the foundation and pouring the concrete. There's always got to be that human element. Now, can we use AI and the data to enhance? I love what we're doing, with using data on like predictive. Like taking that data for the projects and trying to like predict out like, hey, what's a common area of fault? What do we typically see on these types of projects? Where are our timelines? Using that data, or developing things to make our process better or faster. Not
generative design, right? Or shout out to Snaptrude, some of the stuff they're doing around just taking the simplest of problems. You have a program, you need a building, right? Like closing that one gap that in an old way took an architect a month, and closing that gap so it now can be a week with some pretty presentation and can be in a BIM format. But I think everyone's calling it BIM 2.0 now. Not the biggest fan of the name, but fan of the outcome. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if we're ready for a 2.0. I think we need to figure out 1.4 right now. But I mean, truth is, like, there's some power and there's some reality what they're doing over there. Or like, we were talking early before we got on. I was talking to my guy Tom at Data Grid. Right? They're not trying to replace people with AI. They're trying to supplement knowledge with AI.
Absolutely.
They got the perfect example. Their simplest chatbot that they have, it's for submittals, right? And we got to be a little bit careful, right? As an industry, I talked about this before, that knowledge gap that's getting created in the industry as people leave, whether it be people retire or people go to other parts of the industry. We do have to be careful with some of these things, right? But we can use them as a tool. This submittal one, you throw your structural drawings in there, you throw your specifications, and then you throw your structural steel submittal in there, and you run it, and you get results. And then you freaking use your brain, and you do a back check at the end, and you save 6 hours of digging through drawings, right? But you still took the hour at the end to back check, right?
And
that's what we need to get to with those technologies, man.
That's exactly like thinking that you're at a point to where you don't have to check it at all. I will never, ever.
This ain't Terminator, bro.
No. That,
we ain't John Connor.
Listen, I've instructed my whole team. I'm like, use it. It's there for enhancement. It's there to for something you don't know, a quick bot or a quick thing to elevate who you company is. But never, ever copy paste the exact thing right over without going over it, because you can find some really, really funky stuff in what data it's grabbing and who wrote the chatbot, or where it's getting that information from.
And that's something I think we should be a little afraid of, right? Is where I've been excited around AI in the industry is when it's catered data, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think me and my guy Hamilton, who helps me on my R&D side, right? Like, we've been looking for the right solution for Okland for about a year. Like, what's the right one? And just on an agentic chatbot side, right?
Right.
Number one, ChatGPT is in, because, like, bro, there's probably more bad data than good data out there, right? Yep. Then we started looking at all these different ones, and I won't name names of the ones that not the biggest fan of, right? But it was pooled data, right? So now I'm getting data from competitors, and I'm getting data from architects that I probably don't want, and I'm getting data from subcontractors or something like that, and we finally found one where you controlled the execution of your data. It either synced to your tools, or you could cater the data behind it. Therefore, we now actually have the opportunity as an industry to create good results for an organization, right? Because let's be real, the ACGs, the AIAs of the world, they're not solving that for us. There's going to be no big grand organization that comes in and sweeps in and solves construction's problem. There's never was going to be. There wasn't going to be one for construction. There wasn't going to be one for design. We have those organizations, but we're too big of a monster, and there's too much risk, and there's too much difference in how people work, and there's too much. I mean, let's be real. we own our data. We want to protect our data. We don't want to necessarily share that all of the time, right? There may be some cool things that happen. For example, I was talking about my guy Hamilton. He sits on a board at ASU where several general contractors are working with ASU's construction team to create an AI plan to help their construction school around a shared data platform.
That's dope.
But we have to approach that in a manner that we're comfortable in sharing our data, right? So we've talked to our lawyers, I've talked to Bill, our CEO, on it, Lee, our IT guy, we've talked about it. We believe it will make education better. So we're willing to share some of our stuff, but we're not going to share our secret sauce. We're going to share some other stuff, right? So and that's on an educational level. So why stop that, right? But until this grand organizational scheme of the AIAs and NECs and ACGs and all that kind of stuff decide to solve the data mystery and the right behind it, it's never going to solve the whole industry, but it'll be a hell of a good tool for us.
Yep. Yeah, no, the data I think is going to be the kicker. I see it starting. It started now, but I think it's going to ramp up, especially next year. Is that data is going to be the big talking point, and also the biggest area for improvement across the industry, not as one specific company, but as the construction industry as a whole, having data to be able to cross compare and to see, how can we change or make our data work for us, not us working to find our data.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know if I'm ready to say the next year or two. I think it might be more that 3 to 5 year timeline. But what I am excited about in the next year to two is what you're seeing on the design side, right? Because we'll go back to what we talked about earlier, right? Is we own part of these results and these problems with means and methods and design intent, because we are pushing. It's our job still to this day to push our design teams out of our comfort zone, right? There's money on the line, there's time on the line, there's owner contracts on the line, there's feeding subs on the line, there's all those priorities, right? So we do have to push, right? But where I'm seeing that front end generative BIM 2.0 AI integrated stuff, it's on that front end design, right? And the biggest problem I've seen in this industry about it, and even the most collaborative processes, it's concept design. Once we have a concept design as an industry, with the right trade relationships and not being too worried or stuck in the design bid build world, but thinking CMAR even, or thinking integrated project delivery, we can do amazing things on the back end by pulling people in early. Give me a riser diagram engineer, I got it.
Yep.
I got it. I got trades that will do it all in the model with you. You can stamp it. I can do that all day. Honestly, I wish all of my projects were like that. But we get caught at the concept. Yeah. Oh God, do they go better? Right. I mean, we've got two right now where, by the time we went in for CDs, we were done with shops. And the shops were out of the same model that the design was. And the design team got to concentrate on what an engineer wanted to do: find the loads, create the zoning, get the best equipment selection. They didn't have to concentrate on drawing ducts that were all going to change the same. They're all going to change the size. They didn't need to worry about supporting them, didn't need to worry about breaking it into a part that actually could hit a fab shop, any of that stuff. It was just done by the people, done one time by the people who actually eventually needed to do it. I mean, that's awesome. And I think that's another thing that frustrates me with this industry is we've been talking for, I'd say, a good 15 years now about how design build is going to make us better. IPD is going to make us better. And yes, we're getting better, right? There's getting more and more of those. But I mean, let's pick up the pace, man. And that's even if the owner doesn't say it's this contract type, what's stopping us from working together like that? Create a pre-con agreement for early BIM and QTO, or and cost support, like whatever. It's going to come out of the back end, right? And every good trade partner is probably going to go, yeah, no, I'm willing to risk that with you, because I'm probably going to get the work at the end, even if you got to go back and be competitive 3-party or whatever it is later on. Like, your good trades are going to sign up for that, and now all of a sudden you're getting better quality of trades. You're getting better results faster, and it doesn't have to be within a contract. It just has to be a collaborative mentality.
So
that was a rabbit hole. Sorry, brother.
I know. Listen, I know. I'm like, yes, 100% yes. So I want to start something with you here. I want to take a minute, and I want you to look deep into the camera and give a message to our designers, then to our construction folks, like our GCs, and to our subs, about what they each, in your opinion, can do to change this means the methods, design intent delusion. What can we do? Or is it the same message for everyone?
It's the same message for everyone. And I'm getting deep in the camera right here.
Get
right?
deep.
Same message for everybody. Work together, create shared successes, right? Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. We're all not perfect. You know, I got on my high horse 10 minutes ago and talked about how building a building is one of probably the most amazing things that man has ever accomplished, especially consistently in its size, in its scale, in its complexity, and like the sheer number of people that have to come together to do this. And it's not the same thing next time, right? We all don't know everything, right? We all aren't experts at everything. We all have a great part to play in this, from the guy drawing a duct in a model that's a junior engineer, to the lead mechanical engineer, to my duct detailer, to my fabricator, to my installer. We all got a part to play. And truth is, if we stop I'm just going to call it nonsense. I was going to call it something else, but I caught myself
Bullshit.
once. But yeah, that one. Our lives will be easier, will be more profitable, and the world will be better. Let's be real. But we just got to get out of ourselves' way. You know, that's all we have to do. And we just have to not lock ourselves in a mechanism of fear around liability and being scared of making decisions, or being scared that you're not the savior of this, and just freaking work together and do it. I know it's so kumbaya, but it's so true, man.
It is. I mean, it's the one thing of like, hey, just talk to each other. You know, just like, hey, talk to each friends. Other. Yeah. You know, like I always make a joke, coming from the MEP world, then into the construction world. You know, I would curse architects like nobody's business. You know, because you won't change your wall because it messes with the aesthetic of the building, or you know, and I would dog them. But then I get over on the construction side, and I'm like, damn, man, like I get it a little bit. You know, I start understanding that side of things, and it only comes from not being siloed into your one, you know, having your horse blinders on of like, if the MEP is what makes this building, the architecture is what makes this building. Yes, we all have to work together. We all have to communicate, because
it's, I mean, you ever seen that one? You probably seen that on LinkedIn, where they do the whole like body, and the architect's the skin, and the MEP is like the veins or whatever, right? Like cheesy but true, bro. You know, and I don't know, I've never built a human body. I'm not like Frankenstein or whatever, but I built a building, right? But there's a lot of reality to that stuff, right? And coming back to the complexity of things, like we all got to work together. It's not one person that knows everything. I'm sorry. You come to me and you tell me you know everything about building a building, like bullshit. No, you don't. And as soon as you know everything, you stopped learning, so you ain't going to even know anything, because the world keeps evolving and the challenges keep changing, right? Like, just use each other for what we know, right? For our skills and experiences and our strong suits together, you know, and we'll do so much better things.
Yeah, I saw one on LinkedIn. It was kind of the same thing, but it was like making fun of BIM modelers because it was like the design team. It was like the human body with like the veins and everything. And it says after a BIM modeler gets done, and it was all the veins and everything in a chase running up the spinal cord. Like all pretty. It was like, yeah, okay, we get it. It's pretty, but it doesn't work. So it's all working together. Understanding really the intent. If we understand the intent by talking, it's the only way we can understand. This the only way I know when my wife's mad at me is by talking to her. If I just sit and just like don't say anything, I have no idea. It's
or start yelling back. That doesn't work either. I've tried that.
Listen. I've learned. I'm slowly learning the yes, dear. Just yep. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, you brought up a wall, right, bro? Like a wall's one of I don't know. I've used this a lot with a lot of my younger kids around here. Like wall's one of the most amazing examples out there, right? Like of how it affects so many different parts and pieces that when you truly coordinate it, you really truly coordinate something, right? Yes, you mentioned the aesthetic. We don't need to we can't just think about the aesthetic of a wall. What's the rating? What's the thickness of a stud? Do systems run through that? How do you support that? Is that tied to deck or is that kicked? Right? How is that going to be framed? What are penetration needs through that? Right? You can go down this hole and down this hole and down this hole, right? And I think that's a great example to what we're talking about, where these means and methods and design intent probably kick in a little further than they should, right? Number one, let's make sure it's rated, right? Like, I got you, architect. If you're going, I can't do that because it's a 2-hour rating, got you, bro. We'll figure out another solution. But if you say, I can't do that because I wanted it painted pink, I'm going to be like, really, bro? We can paint a 6-inch stud with 2 pieces of jet pink if you want. It's not like you can't paint a 6-inch stud when it's a 3 5/8. Like, we'll handle the paint, right? But I mean, one of the most common things you see, even in this world where you have all these models that are shared and these things like ACC, where all your models are being created together by all these different people, is you see a wall stud that doesn't fit a pipe. Like, really, guys, we can't get that one down as an industry with these tools. We can, if we care about the other parts and pieces and want to create that outcome, not just for a document, not just for a model, but not just for the field, but for the betterment of the project.
Absolutely. I know. I 100% agree. Well, Bud, we're getting to about time here. Final words. What you got, man?
Be nice to each other, y'all. It's too damn easy to sit back and get caught in our own stuff and gripe and moan that it's this person's fault and that person's fault. And honestly, I came from architecture. I may be a little too quick sometimes to be like, it's the architect's fault. Hell, you met Dean. Dean is an architect and he loves to blame architects, right? But it's not that simple, y'all. Like let's just care about the outcome and let's work on it together, and let's not just drop buzzwords because you've heard them or they feel safe. Let's work together and let's use those skill sets and those knowledges. And in an hour on a meeting about a wall, we can solve everything we need to, rather than saying means and methods and creating a 3-week chase around an RFI or a submittal. Like, let's just do it together.
Yeah, that what you said about quick to blame, it kind of, we're sitting here and when we were talking before about the design intent, it was funny, we were laughing about it and we're like, how quickly it's being used and thrown around. I can't tell you how many, like, my MEP modelers will be like, the damn architect, I'm like, wait a second, is it the architect or do you suck? Like, are you just blaming the architect because you don't know what you're doing? And then the architect's like, oh, dang engineers.
Yeah.
Is it really the engineers, or is it just this is what it's become our comfort word, so that way we don't have to deal with the fact that we may not know anything, or maybe we suck, So
or we're just not taking the time or forcing that race to the bottom that we talked about,
Yep.
right? Like
No,
we're not
100%.
forcing ourselves to produce good results. We're creating excuses to push people to figure it out later and hopefully create the good results, and waving our hands and said, I did my architecting, I did my engineering, I did my GC, and it's someone else's fault. Like, stop, bro. Like,
Right.
that's, ladies, gentlemen, like, we all want the same thing at the end. Like, I don't know. Let's be friends, bro. And let's do it together, because it will end up more efficient. It will end up better. Clients will be more happy. We'll get more work. We'll change the industry. We'll start to get more people back in spots where we don't have enough staff in architecture or enough trades in electrical or whatever. We'll start to make a better outcome if we can all just stop being brats to each other.
I 100% agree. My
Do
man,
for kumbaya, but I'm sticking by it, bro.
hey, listen. I'll get the guitar. We'll get a campfire together, some marshmallows and bourbon,
you got
and we'll kumbaya
s'mores?
together.
Okay,
Yeah,
I got
s'mores.
bourbon as long as you
S'mores
got
and s'mores. Yeah. Well, brother, hey, I appreciate you coming on, sharing your time with us. Shooting the shit with me, and just really diving into this, helping maybe somebody didn't understand. Talking was the key. It seems it's very simple, but it really is what fixes everything.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if one person, thank you. This has been a blast anytime, brother. But honestly, if one person ends up listening to this, no matter what they do in this industry, and next time that they just want to assign blame or throw their hands up or drop one of those, I don't even know how many letters it would take me a second to figure out. I'm going to call it a 4-letter word, right? Of means and methods or design intent, and just takes a step back and kind of says, maybe I should call the engineer. Maybe I should call my trade partner. Maybe I should get on a cool AI chatbot and understand a little bit more of this.
Right.
Then we did our part, and it's a pleasure for me to do that anytime, my man.
All right, brother. Well, hey, that's it for this week's episode of The Ugly Truth About Construction. Key takeaway, very simple. Freaking talk to each other. Stop.
Be friends. Don't be enemies.
Be friends. Yeah, be friends. Give each other a hug. Yeah.
What do those kids do nowadays?
Yeah,
the big hearts.
I have no idea. I see them do like all kinds of.
Can we do one of those like react things?
There you go. There we go. Loves.
Love. No, seriously. Be friends. Work together. We'll do better things.
So that's it for this week. We'll see you the second Thursday of every month for another episode of The Ugly Truth. Like, share, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Reach out to us at The Ugly Truth at ATG USA with any thoughts, questions, stories. Cuss me out if you want to. All right?
Just don't call him Weese unless you know him.
You got to earn it.
You got to earn it. Thanks, brother. I appreciate your time, man.
We'll see you guys. Have a good week.